Hey,
Hi,
Lynn, how you
Steve.
doing? Yeah, glad you could make it.
What a beautiful property.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
How long have you been here?
Just a couple of years. We've been renovating for 2 years, and yeah, just bringing it back to life after 100 years.
It is so amazing.
Oh, thanks,
Thank
thanks.
you so much for
Yeah, come on in.
Thank you.
Xin chào các bạn đã đến với chương trình Lamborghini TV. Và hôm nay chúng tôi rất là hào hứng được mời đến quay phim ở dinh thự của anh tỷ phú tự thân, đó là anh Steve Siebold, cũng là tác giả của quyển sách rất là nổi tiếng How Rich People Think, được dịch ra tiếng Việt gọi là Cách nghĩ của người giàu. Hi Steve, how are you doing?
Hi, man. Good, good.
Welcome to Lamborghini TV.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I can't wait to see you. Finally, we have beautiful weather and everything works out well.
Welcome to the mansion. Yeah.
Gorgeous. This book, I love it. I have read it from word to word, from the front to the back. How Rich People Think. And there are 100 nuggets in here. Wow, if I just have to remember 5, what are the 5 most important nuggets that we should remember and apply in our life?
I would say to start out with, the number one thing would be to develop a healthy relationship with money. I mean, most of us have a relationship with money that's more about fear and scarcity than it is about abundance and, you know, limitlessness and opportunity and all the great things that riches really help you have the opportunity to afford. So I think it's developing a healthy relationship with money, seeing money for the opportunity it can create as opposed to looking at it in terms of scarcity and fear.
I understand that the problem is a lot of people out there are struggling to make ends meet.
Sure.
So, I mean, there's some fear there. There's some extent of anxiety there. I mean, how can we have that kind of healthy relationship when you are struggling?
You know, Einstein said years ago that consciousness is contagious, and I think that's a big lesson, that get around people who are not struggling and see how they think, see what they say, see the conversations that they engage in, the places they go, the clubs they join, the neighborhoods they live in. See the world, try to see the world through their eyes, through their lens, so to speak, and then copy that consciousness, copy that thinking, in other words, and just start thinking about it that way and see how it changes you.
I know that, but I don't have that kind of money to join country club, to hang out with rich, affluent people, go to charity, ball party, special prestigious membership, all that stuff I cannot afford. So how can I be surrounded by those people?
Sure, and when I started I didn't have it either, and I think it's about getting exposure in some way. So if it's through books that they write, and hundreds if not more than that, through their books, through seminars, if they do seminars. I know you do training, I do training, you do training, lots of people do that. Any way you can get exposure to them whatsoever. So there's lots of ways you can do it inexpensively, especially with the internet now. Watch YouTube videos, watch shows like this show, where they get exposure to higher levels of thinking, and it's basically the same as joining a club or being around them. So any way you can get exposure, and the good thing with the online world now, you don't have to have a lot of money to do that.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense now. You started with nothing. You are a self-made millionaire. And yeah, your book has inspired a lot of people around the world, and especially the Vietnamese readers. We would like to know more about you, how you get on that journey, how do you start to get where you are at a very young age.
Well, I want to say right off the bat, I'm a big fan of the Vietnamese people, exclusively for the reason, or one of the reasons, I think the main reasons, is because you're a very industrious people, and I think that's what a lot of the book is about, is people that, as you said, that are self-made, that didn't inherit their wealth, that like the Vietnamese people, they're industrious, they're entrepreneurial, right?
Yeah.
They go off on their own, they stake their own claim, and that's really what most of the people I've interviewed over the years have done. And that's what I was able to do, with a lot of help from mentors, of course. That's how I got started. I grew up playing tennis on the National Junior Tennis Circuit, and we were not a rich family, but there were a lot of rich families that did travel, that we traveled with. And I saw the way they lived. I saw they lived in places like this, right? And I thought, this looks really good. I want to live
I want that.
I want that. That's what I have now.
Yeah.
So in 1984, when I was in college, I started interviewing rich people. And I basically said to him, why are some people self-made rich and where 95% of people struggle in the world, especially in a place like America where there's so much opportunity? And they said, well, it starts in the way you think. Almost, over 1,200 interviews, what I really found is the way the rich people think, the self-made rich, compared to the way the average person thinks, it's like they're living on a different planet. I mean, it really is so different. And so all I did was start to copy the way their thought process, their beliefs, their habits, their actions, their behaviors, and then I started to get better results as I went along. And the closer I moved toward them and their thinking, the further away I got away from where I came from in the middle class. And it just kept working better and better as I went along. Yeah.
Do you remember what was the very first action that you took?
Yeah, the very first thing they told me to do was create a vision. Create a written vision for your life. What they said was, there was a multimillionaire out in California, and he said, write a vision for your life. Pretend it's 5 years in the future. So date this, they called it a letter to a friend. Date this letter to a friend 5 years in the future, and then tell the friend in the letter everything that's happened in your life that you want to happen as if it's already happened. Wow. Write it out, read it. When you wake up in the morning, read it when you go to bed at night, and ingrain it in your consciousness. Then create a vision board. You know, and I know you're familiar with vision boards,
yeah.
and a lot of very successful people are. People make fun of it, but they put the pictures on the vision board, place it in a place where you can see it every day, and inundate your consciousness with these graphic images of where you want to go, and you'll begin moving toward the images and the words, the images and the words, the images and the words. And I thought it sounded silly, but they were rich and I was poor. So I tried it, and it started to work. And that was the first action I took. Even though I thought it was silly, I thought, what have I got to lose? I'm broke anyway. How much broker can I get?
That's awesome. You mentioned that you were a professional athlete. Does that help a lot? The discipline, the determination, that kind of drive? It
did help me, frankly. I said the discipline of persistent action. I guess that's the thing probably that helped me more than anything else, was just the dogged persistence of failing over and over, to the point where most people would tell me, give it up, go get a job somewhere, just forget it. You obviously don't have the talent, but you're trained as an athlete, or I was trained at least, to just keep going, and really you don't really know how to quit, because you've never really done it before, so you just keep trying. And then eventually you get lucky, you get a break, and then everyone thinks you're a genius. The truth is you failed 95% of the time, but they forget about that. Once you hit the home run, then they just see the home run.
Wow. You said you failed a lot.
Yes.
When was that moment, the turning point, that you said, wow, everything makes sense, and you see that result, and it really feels really good? When was that moment? How many years after that?
It was quite a few years. I mean, I would say it was probably 10 or 12 years. I was not fast. I was slow. It took me 13 years to make my first million. It took me a very short period, 9 months, to make my next one. So that was a big shift for me.
Right, exponential, right?
Exponential, exactly.
Yeah.
The next one was 6 months. The next one was shorter than that. And it's just because now all of a sudden, as you start to believe it, you start to think, well, all those people that said it can't be done, or I can't do it, are wrong, because I just did it. So now I'm going to do it faster. But in the beginning, I would do what most people do, and then in psychology they call it, moving forward. Basically, what they say is you're moving forward or moving back. They call it approach avoidance. You're moving toward your goal, and then you move back because you think, I can't really do this. I mean, I'm probably kidding myself. I'm not smart enough, educated enough, talented enough. And then they move forward toward it, then they back up. And they call it approach avoid. And I did that for 13 years. I move forward, I move back. I move forward, I move back. And then once I got one good success, I thought, I've got it. Now I've just got to keep going and see what I can do. And then all of a sudden the success started.
So that's when you got that really strong conviction, right?
Right. You start to believe it, and once you start to believe, it's
unstoppable,
you become kind of unstoppable in a way. And even if you fail, you just get back up and just do it again, because you know you'll succeed eventually.
Right. That's awesome story. I feel so inspired already. Oh my gosh. I read the Success magazine yesterday, and somebody wrote about you. How to become $1 million speaker. The Steve Siebold story. So if you don't mind sharing, most of the wealth that you have created come from the speaking profession, or it comes from investment or real estate or any other kind of business?
Yeah, most of the genesis of our wealth has come from selling billion-dollar corporations million-dollar contracts, training their sales teams to increase sales, increase retention, engagement, that kind of thing. So like what you do a lot of times, we're training companies on how to be better, how to increase sales, that type of thing. So that's mostly where the genesis of our success has come from. And then of course after, once you have money, well then you can invest money and make money in other ways. Public speaking, in other words, paid public speaking, has been the door opener for me.
TV's audience wrote me, and he really wanted to ask you that what should he do first when he has not much a strong skill, not much money right now, pretty much from scratch. what should he do now?
I would say the first thing is start working on your belief system. Identify the 5 strongest beliefs that you have about money, wealthy people, success, and see if the beliefs are helping you or hurting you, moving you toward where you want to go, or keeping you farther away. And if they're positive beliefs, keep them. If they're negative beliefs or they're hurting you, then change those beliefs. In other words, one of the beliefs should be, I will be a self-made millionaire. And if that's what you're after, and keep saying that to themselves, to himself all the time, as much as possible. Another one would be just simply, I can do it. 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 Human beings, because we're emotional creatures, we're hardwired because we're emotional-based creatures to believe almost anything that's said to us, especially ourselves, over and over and over. We'll believe almost anything if we repeat it long enough and strong enough, as a process. So that's one of the strongest things you can do.
May I ask you this? Would it be at some point you feel like it's so disillusional because right now I have nothing and I'm saying something and it's just out of your reach? Does it make sense at all? After a while, you're like, does it really work?
Well, yeah, that's a great point. I mean, it's a really good question because it's not linear. I think that's one of the things.
I love how you said it's not linear.
Yeah, it's not.
I love that.
You go. It's not like kind of like with money. It's not like they say it's your first million's the hardest to make. But most people, I think, and I was the same way, they don't really understand why it's the hardest to make. When you're self-made, when you do it, when you're on your own, when you don't inherit it, in other words. Of course, people say, well, it's the hardest to make because once you make $1 million, well, it's easier to take the $1 million to make another. That's not the reason at all. The reason it's the hardest to make is because most of us don't believe we can do it. I didn't believe I could do it. I thought, who the heck am I? I mean, do I come from nowhere? I'm nobody from nowhere. I have a decent education, nothing fabulous, outside of my own self-education, which is great. But formally, nothing special. I'm not that smart. I'm not that bright, really, in any way. I'm not that talented. So who am I? Elon Musk, maybe. I get that. He's a genius. I'm not. I'm just an average person. So, so you start to doubt yourself. But all of a sudden, then you make it because you keep persisting so long that eventually you get lucky. You hit the right place, right time. You hit a home run and you start thinking, I can do that again. I can hit another home run again. And then you hit it and you go, I'm going to hit the next one faster. And I'm never going to doubt myself again. And all of a sudden you're taking these non-linear leaps of success. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden people are going, well, you're just a genius. You're just brilliant. You're just talented. And the truth is, that's not the truth at all. You just were persistent. And then it was a non-linear progression as it went. But if it was a step-by-step linear progression, I think it'd be really difficult. It's just not. You go from 1 to 2 to 10 to
right.
40 to 100, and then everyone thinks you're brilliant.
So if I can go take away 3 things and do it right now, what would they be?
I would say think big. The steps, the initial steps, everyone starts in the same place. Every self-made millionaire starts in the same place. None of us we all kick and scratch our way through the beginning of success. But I would say project big. Start thinking of where you can go because the people that have gone there outside of the rogue geniuses like an Elon Musk or a Steve Jobs or people like that. I mean, those people are raw talents. I mean, they're rare raw talents. Yeah. But for the rest of us mere mortals, look big, think big, and start taking action step by step. I think that's one. The second one would be probably leverage. Start looking at everything as a lever. In other words, not leverage in terms of debt, but leverage in terms of in the context of how can I use my education, my relationships, how can I leverage the information they learn on your TV show to become more successful, right? Anything. Third thing I think probably would be that you get into something you love to do because you are in for the fight of your life. Maybe not the fist fight of your life, but the psychological, emotional fight for your life. And because you're going to be waking up at 3 in the morning like all of us have before you make it. Right. And you're going to probably be looking in the mirror saying, can I really do this? Am I kidding myself? Am I delusional? Yeah. I mean, I did it for years. Other people have done it for years that are a lot more successful than I've ever been. And you've got to be strong enough mentally. That's why we talk about mental toughness, right? Yeah. To be able to get through that. How are you going to get yourself to stay in that fight long enough? I think you're going to have to love what you do. I love writing books. I love talking to TV shows and radio and talking to the media and the press because it helps to get the message out there.
Exactly. Yeah.
I love speaking just like you speak. I know as well. You're a great speaker. I love the whole thing. So even during the down times when we've had struggles with the company or the business,
that helps
I still
a
love
lot.
the process, right?
Exactly.
You know it. You love it.
Exactly.
So I think you gotta love it. Don't you think that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It gives you that vigor and the resilience.
Yeah.
That if you don't have that passion, then it's could be very tough. It's like an uphill battle. Thank you so much. Those are very concrete. I think something that everyone can take away and do it right now.
Sure.
And your last word, do you have any wisdom or any final thoughts that you would like to share with us?
You can do this. You can do it. Whatever it is that you're in love with doing and you want to pursue this dream, don't think that these people that have all these things where it's a mansion or none of this stuff means anything. What really means, this is just an end result of something, okay? Of years of struggling and failing and that type of thing. That's just an end result. Don't be impressed with any of this stuff because it means nothing. What really means something is your desire, your fire in the belly that you have to make your dream happen. All this flashy stuff doesn't mean anything without the desire that you have inside you, and you have that, and no one can take that away from you. And no one is and these people that are very successful, don't be intimidated by them. I've interviewed, you know, over 1,200 of them for, like I said, 33 years now, long time. They're no smarter, better, faster than you are, and you can make this happen. So don't let anyone talk you out of the idea, even if they tell you you can't do it, and they say, oh, who are you to do things? We all hear that. I heard that too. They are all wrong. You're right. You're going the right direction. Keep pushing forward. Keep watching shows like this because you got to keep encouraging yourself. But just know you can do it. You're a smart and talented, and you have everything you need to make this happen.
This is so wonderful.
Thanks for having me.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
Believe, begin, become. Hãy tin, hãy bắt đầu và bạn sẽ trở thành.